unit 1, 2, 3, okay, and unit 11. So until that we have covered in our material. So we have covered unit 1 and 11, then unit 3 and unit 2. So today let us start with unit 7. So we will cover unit 4, 5, 6 a little later. So before that, I want you to check. Wanted to discuss with you about unit 7. So let us start our discussion on unit 7. So yesterday, if you remember, let me show you a sales document. So I hope my screen is visible for everyone.
Yes, sir.
Now this is a typical standard sales document. Okay. Here I told you that whenever we open the document, it always opens in the overview screen. This is screen what you see here is called the overview screen. And then we have three other screens that are required. One is the header. You can click here. The system will take you to the header of the standard sales document. Inside the header, you see many tabs. So this is the sales tab, this is the shipping tab, this is the billing document tab, accounting tab, this is the conditions tab. Then similarly, we have many tabs: account assignment, partners, text, order data, status, additional data A, additional data B. Now this is how a typical header would look like. Then you can come back, you can select this line item and double click on this line. The system will take you to the item data. So here you see it is the item data. Inside that you have many tabs like how you have it at the header. In this, one of the important tab is the schedule line tab. So this is the schedule line view of the sales document. So now yesterday I have told you what a header does, what item does, what a schedule line does. See, whenever you open the sales order, whenever you, for example, now let us attempt to create a sales order. VA01 is the transaction. We have put OR. We will give sales org, distribution channel, and now you can see that the document whichever you are trying to create is opening in the overview screen. So this screen, whatever you see here is the overview screen. It has some information which are relevant for both header as well as item, like the sales item overview, item detail, ordering party, procurement, shipping, reason for rejection. These kind of tabs are there, and then you see here the item level information that would be required. We have here you see some critical information like the sold to, ship to, PO number, PO date, value, etc. So now this is the overview screen, and then we can have the option of header information. Then we have the option of item. We can double click on this item, it will open, and then we have the schedule line information. If you want to go to the schedule line, you can select this item, click on this button which looks like a graph. This button, if you click, it will again directly take you to this schedule line. So what are these three different views doing here is what we are trying to understand. So sales document types. So now if you see that when we attempted to create a sales document, okay, you saw that I entered a document type here. So if I go back here, you see order type. So I entered an order type OR, which represents a standard order, and I entered the sales area for which I wanted to create the sales document. So what is this OR? What is it doing here? So OR is nothing but a representation of a standard sales document. So we saw that there are three different structures present in the sales document. One is the header, another is the item, and another is the schedule line. So we might be required to control them differently. So we need to control the header, we need to control the item, we need to control the schedule line as well. So who controls these things? So we saw that there is a order type OR. So this order type OR will control the header part of the sales document. So whatever information is present in the header will be controlled by this document type. Similarly, we saw an item. So at the item data, who controls the item? Item data will be controlled by the item category. Similarly, a schedule line we have seen. Schedule line will be controlled by the schedule line category. So now we got three terms. Now for today we can see what are these three terms. So now day 4, today's date. So sales document. You need to understand sales document has header, and then it has item, then it has. Now header is controlled by the document type. Now in this case we have an example of the document type OR. Now item will be controlled by the item category. I will let you know what is the example of item category. Then we have a schedule line which is controlled by the schedule line category. So how do we configure this? I will show you. So it is not that every time we will only use the standard sales order type. So there could be different business scenarios where we would be required to use different sales document types. So now, for example, some of the different document types which we can use in the system is like, for example, for all the standard business processes, we can use standard sales document type OR. So now if you are having a special scenario like a customer is coming and asking you to deliver your product urgently, there could be some urgent sales orders. So in those cases, we can use another sales document type called the rush order. And there could be some cases where a customer can walk into your store or your office and he can buy the product from the shelf. So like example is a supermarket. So where you walk into the store, you select your product, you just go to the counter, you make the payment and take the product with you. So that is kind of a cash sale. So for cash sale, we will be having a different document type. And then for example, you have sold some material through a standard sales order OR, but the customer is not happy with the product. He has found some defect in the product. Now he is saying that you pay me back my money. For example, you supplied him 10 units of a particular product, 10 numbers of a product. In that, he has found that one item is defective. So you need to pay back the cost for the one item. So for that, we will create a credit memo request where we will credit the customer back. Or for example, the customer has ordered only 10 material, but you have supplied by mistake 11 material. Then you need to debit the customer for that one additional unit of material which you supplied which was not present. In those cases, we create
Hello.
that 2 units are defective. So he is asking you to replace that two units which were defective as a free of cost. So you can create a subsequent free of charge order, and based on that you can send the two units free to him, or you can send some samples to the customer just to show him how the quality of your product is. So in those cases you can create some free of charge sales orders. So these are different type of sales orders which you can attempt to create in your system depending on the various business scenarios that you may face in your day-to-day activities. So any queries on the different types of sales documents?
No, sir. Hello. विवेक वाघ.
बोला सावकार बोला काय म्हणता.
अरे गुड मॉर्निंग म्हटलं. विक्की. हॅलो आगळे झोपला का?
झोपला.
झोपच येते भाऊ. काय काय चालू काय कळत नाही.
अरे विचार ना, कळायला नाही तर.
हा ना.
आता ती विचारायचं काय हे तरी कळलं पाहिजे ना.
अरे
अं?
असंच का म्हणतो.
हे आले सर चला. चालू झालं. आले आले.
Guys, are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yes sir.
Sorry, there seems to be some issue with my internet today. So I'm not sure until when you were able to listen to what I was telling. So can someone tell me until when you listened?
Is there issue?
Sir, you can start with the example.
Yes. See, now we have something called a standard sales order. Okay. So we would be having different scenarios in our day-to-day life, like cash sales, rush order. Then we can have credit memo uh, request, or a debit memo request, free of charge order, subsequent free of charge order. So see, for example, cash sale means, imagine a situation where you walk into a store, you take the goods, you select the material whichever you wanted to buy, and you pay for that and you walk out. So that could be an example of a cash sale. Rush order is something that, in case if you need the products very urgently, then you can place this rush order. So credit memo means like you want to credit the customer because you have supplied some defective products. And debit memo request you will create whenever you want to debit the customer. If you have undercharged them, or you have supplied excess quantity, so which they did not order. So in those cases, you will debit the customer for that particular value. Then free of charge means whenever you wanted to send some samples, then you can use this free of charge order. And whenever you want to replace some material which you sent was defective, then you send that quantity free to the uh, customer. So that could be an example of a free of charge, subsequent free of charge delivery, or a subsequent free of charge order. So these are different scenarios apart from the standard sales document type. So we will be having a document type for each of these scenarios that would be represented in the system. So like how we have OR as the standard sales document type in SAP. Similarly, we will have different document types which represent these order types. It is not that we have only these many uh, order types. There could be many other order types as well, and you can also create your own order types inside the system. So I am just listing these orders. So these document types you can view inside the system. So I will just show you where to see all these document types. So you can see these document types where it is configured. You can go to tools, customizing, IMG, SPRO, SAP reference IMG. So now here you can go to sales and distribution. Inside that you can go to sales. Here sales documents, sales document header. So we are looking at the configuration specific to the sales document header because the document type controls the header. So go to define sales document type. Here you can see these many document types. So there are in total 337 document types that are available. So you can go and click on this position. We can just check how the standard order OR is configured. So here we have this OR document type. Just select this, click on the details. So we can see many fields here, many tabs here. So this is the underlying configuration of a standard sales document type. So now here you can see that this is the SD document category is maintained as C, which means that it is a sales document. So C means it is a order. So then we have something called the number range internal assignment, number range external assignment. So whenever we created a sales document, we saw that the sales document number was coming automatically. So which means that it is a internal number range assignment. The system itself is providing the sales document number. So that is what it means. So item number increment. So if we have multiple items, so first line item will start with 10. The next item, the number will be 20 because the item number increment is maintained as 10. If the item number increment is maintained as 1, then the first number will start with 1, the next will be 2, 3 like that. So it depends on how you want to see the item number. Here then we have some general control information which controls the sales document, like whether a mandatory reference has to be provided when you create a sales document. Then we have some other information which are specific to credit limit, item division. You have checked this item division, check division. So these two fields, if you remember, I was telling you when we were discussing the master data on cross division sales and division specific sales. So can you guys recall that?
No, sir.
No.
I forget.
I told you specifically to remember that. And see, I told you during our discussion of material master, okay, the division what we use in the header would be different to that of the division in the line item level. Do you remember? See, here I showed you specifically, if you recall, whether the division and item level is copied from the corresponding material master or whether the division in the document header is also relevant, and how the system should respond if the materials in the sales order have a different division compared to the header. Can you remember now at least?
Yes, sir.
See, now for example, we have this sales order VA01 I am trying to create. And here I am using sales org 1000, distribution channel 10 and division 00. Press enter. Now I am giving a sold to party here. I am giving some purchase order number and I am giving a material here. So now this material will have a division which is configured inside the material master of this M05, right?
Yes, sir.
So if that division and this division which we entered in the header are different, how the system has to behave? Now the division what we entered in the header is 00. Okay. Now if this material M05, okay, is having a different division. For example, let us go to this M05 and see what the division is. Material M05 section. Here you can go and see that the division of this material is 07. Okay. Whereas the header is having 00. So it means that this is a cross division sale, and here you can see, right, it is a cross division sale, and how the system should behave in this case. So in the standard OR document type configuration, we can see about these two fields, check division and item division. So check division, what this field does, will see here, controls how the system reacts during sales order processing when a division that is entered or proposed at the item level differs from the division in the document header. This is what has happened now, right? The header is having a different division, the item is having a different division. Now how the system should react in that case will be decided based on the setting that you make here. Now here what is the setting that is made here? It is blank, so no reaction. So that is what it means. So no dialogue means the system will not do anything. It will just allow you to do whatever you do at the item level. If you had been marked 2 here, for example, if you change the configuration here from blank to 2, then the system will throw an error saying that the item division is differing from that of the header division. So you need to look into that. So here it is blank, so only the system has allowed us to create the order with this cross division. And this another important configuration of item division, from where the division for the material has to be copied. That will be decided based on the setting here, whether it will be copied from the header or it will be copied from the material master. So here it is been checked here. If it is not checked, then what would happen? The division for this material would have been copied from the header. Now it is checked here. So it is ticked here. So it means that the division will be copied for this material will be copied from the material master. So that is what has happened here. The division for this is copied from the material master. And then we created something called the customer material information record. So if we want the sales order to read the information record and get the other information pertaining to plant, minimum order quantity, minimum delivery quantity, etc., then we need this to be enabled. So these kind of informations will be present in the document type configuration. I am just showing you some of the important fields that will be used for controlling. You need to go and check each and every field because there are many fields inside this. You can go and place F1 in each of these fields and you can get the technical details as well as the description for each of them. I'm just trying to do some random and important fields. So now we can see the screen sequence group here, display range here, function code for overview screen here. So these are the fields which will control how the screen will look like when you open the standard sales document. So in which screen the standard sales order has to open. In our case, it opened at the overview screen. So if you don't want your sales document to open in the overview screen, you wanted to open it in the header screen, then you need to make relevant settings here. Okay, then we have something called the incompletion procedure. So we will discuss in more detail about this incompletion procedure. So for this standard sales document type, incompletion procedure 11 is assigned. So this incompletion procedure 11, inside that we will have all those fields which if it is not filled during the sales order creation, how the system has to react. So that is what means by the incompletion procedure. And we have incompletion procedure 11 assigned to this document. So the other important things that you need to check here is the what kind of a delivery document would get created when we use the standard sales order. So if you remember yesterday during our demo, I did not give any document type for delivery or I did not give any document type for billing. It just got created when I attempted to create using those transactions. Delivery document got created on its own, billing document got created on its own. It got created with LF delivery and F2 was the invoice which got created. So that configurations are automatically picked up from here. So when you use a standard sales order OR, the delivery whatever you attempt to create from them will always be LF because here the delivery type is maintained as LF. So here instead of LF, if you maintain some other delivery document type, then the delivery will get created with that document type. Similarly, invoice you can see we did not give any invoice document type during creation. Automatically, the system has created an invoice with invoice type F2. That is because that is what is maintained here. For all the orders which are created with OR, this is the document type that will be used when you create an invoice. So these are some of the important settings which I wanted to inform you for the sales document type. Here you have some settings related to contracts. So this I will tell you when we discuss the contract document types. Okay. So any specific questions on this sales document type configuration before we move further?
No, sir.
No, sir. Just show the path from where we go to the customizing.
Okay. 1 second. So all the customizing you can straight away go to SPRO. Okay. I think you know how to go to SPRO in this path. So you can
Yes,
use
sir.
either SPRO transaction or you can go to tools,
Tools, customizing,
customizing IMG.
IMG.
IMG means IMG stands for implementation guide. Okay.
Okay.
SPRO you can select, double click this. Here you can click on SAP reference IMG and all our customizing will be present inside sales and distribution. So you can go to sales and distribution, enter, go to sales. Okay,
Okay.
press enter. Here you can go to sales documents, press execute, go to header. Now we are only discussing the header part. Okay, the document
Yeah.
type is controls the header. So go to header, press enter, go to define sales document types.
Hello.
Yeah, you got it right.
Yes, yeah, got it.
Fine. So now
Okay.
just one more thing about the number range. See here you can see that the number range internal assignment is maintained as 01. So where do we see this 01? So here you can go to define number range for sales documents. Inside select intervals. Here you see number 01, right? So this is the number range that is maintained. Now from this, from 1 until this 1,99,999 is the number range maintained for 01. So this 01 is what is assigned to this document type OR. So whenever you attempt to create a standard sales order, this number would get picked up from within this range only. So the last document which I created was 15422. So this is the current status, and whether it is an external or an internal, it will be decided based on the check here. If this is checked, it means that it is an external number, and we should be giving any number within this range for our sales document before saving. Okay, so if it is not ticked, it means that it is an internal number. The system will select the number and it will propose the number for the sales document. Now if I create a sales document, the next the document will have number 15423. If you see now, I will save the sales order, you will see that 15423 will get created. Okay, 15423 got created because the number in status means the last number which got created. Now if I refresh this, here it will become 15423. Now got 15423. Okay, so now again I attempt to create one more, it will be with 15424. You get it?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now theoretically you will have all these concepts mentioned in the unit. So you can go through these concepts whenever you find time. So what are the just a second. So as I told you, these are the different document types which we can use in our day-to-day process, and these are the functions of the sales document type. So here you can see what are the important business processes that are carried out based on the sales document. So sales document, you can see once you create a sales document, you input the material. So based on the plant that got determined, the system will check whether that material will be available in stock, or it has to be produced in-house, or it needs to be procured from external vendors. So this kind of control will happen when you create a sales document. And there will be a control on pricing, what price has to be determined for the sales order. So there will be some credit check happening, whether the customer whom you are creating the sales order is within the credit limit, or if he has exceeded the credit limit. And we have something called the sales information system, which is nothing but a statistical thing. Like we can create reports based on the sales, because we need to generate certain reports. so that the system or the business can understand how the sales is happening for any particular product. We can extract reports at material level, at sales area level, at document type level. So all this is possible. So that kind of a reporting activity is also controlled by the sales document type. So these are different functions of the sales document type, which will be which although it doesn't list the entire functionalities, but still these are some of the important functions of the sales document type. So actually they are not shown. The theoretical part will not explain you the customizing. I have shown you the customizing, how to create your own. Now if for example, if you want to create your own sales document type, what you can do is you can go and copy this and you can change your document type. For example, if you want to create your document type Z11, for example, so it could give yes. Now you have created your own document type Z11. Now you can save this, and if you want to make any changes to any of these fields, you can do. Should not always do changes to the standard sales document types. You should create your own document type and you can make any specific changes. Now for example, if you want to have a different delivery type to be generated, then you can update here. So different invoice type you want, then you can define here. So you can always copy a standard sales document type and you can create your own sales document type. So when you save this, again the system will ask for a transport request. So you need to provide a transport request and you need to save. I am not doing that. Okay. So this is how we configure a sales document type. What I personally request you is you can go to this standard sales order type over inside your system. You can go to each and every field. You can go place the F1 health. You can read what is the documentation for those fields. So in case if you feel any challenges or if you don't follow any of these fields, please do let me know. We can relook at that at a later point of time. Because of our time constraints, I am not able to show you the description for each and every field. I have only covered the important fields here. So you can look into it in a leisure time. You can go through each and every field and you can try to understand what that field is for and what is the significance of that field. So as far as the theoretical concept goes, they have defined the functions of the sales document type and what are the different sales document types they have given here. So you can go through this and let me know in case if you have any questions. All right, so are we good to move further?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. So Vikrant, you're also clear? You're not responding.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Onkar.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. Kuldeep is also clear.
Yes, sir.
Saurabh,
Yes, sir. Yes.
Vivek sir.
Vivek, sir.
Yes, sir.
Vivek always has many doubts. So
Yes, sir.
it's good to
I'm
have so
clear.
many doubts, Vivek. Don't worry. Okay.
No, sir.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay. So let us move ahead. And now the next important concept what we will be discussing is about the item categories. So now now also we have created one sales order. So let us look at the sales order. So here I have showed you that there is something called the header. There is something called the item and there is something called the schedule line. So now the document type controls the header. So that is what we have seen so long. and then what controls the item is the item category. So inside the sales document, you can see the item category somewhere. So here you can see the item category. So this is the item category TAN, which got determined in the sales document automatically. So I don't remember having entered this manually. So you can see, right? So only I entered the sales document type. See, again, I am creating a sales order for your convenience. Just observe it very carefully. I have given the transaction code, pressed enter. I have provided the document type OR. I have given the sales area. Now I am pressing enter. Now I am giving the sold to. I am giving the ship to party. I am giving the PO number, and I am entering the material and the quantity. Now when I press enter, I have not pressed enter yet. Just carefully watch this scenario. Now I am going to press enter. If I press enter, you should observe what are the things that get populated automatically. Okay, just now I am pressing enter. Now I pressed enter. The system says that there are open quotations for this item. I will just continue. Now you see there are many things that got populated automatically. You can see the delivery date got populated, payment terms got populated, pricing date, Incoterms, total weight, volume, the description of the material. Then here you see the item category got determined. The plant has come here. Some condition type PR00 has come here. So the value of this amount has come, the net price has come, the currency has come. Did we enter all this?
No.
No, sir.
Everybody, you are in agreement with me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now
Yes,
I am double clicking on this. Let me go to the schedule line. Did we enter this?
No.
No, sir.
Did I enter here CP?
nothing.
No.
No.
Okay. Fine. So you
No.
all agree that I did not enter anything. I only entered the sold to, ship to, PO number, material, quantity. That is it I entered. I did not do anything else. But all the other things got populated automatically. So let us try to understand what is going behind the scenes. Now we only decided what order type we will use. So that will depend on our scenario. So now we are trying to use a standard sales order. Now tomorrow let us say that one customer has walked into your office and he wants to take some product on his hand. Then we'll create a cash sale order type. And similarly, there could be a situation where a customer wants an immediate delivery. So we will create a rush order. So that is depending on our discretion on what order type we need to create. But order type we will decide. We will decide the sales area. We will decide the sold to, ship to. We will decide what material we are going to sell. We will decide what is the quantity. Then the system decides what is the plant, what is the item category, what is the schedule line category. Depending on the plant, the system will decide what is the shipping point, because shipping point is assigned to the plant. So in this case, if you see, the plant got determined as 1200. Now if I double click on this line item and I go to shipping, here you can see the shipping point that got determined is 1201, and the route also got determined automatically. I did not do anything here. It got determined automatically. So there are some underlying configurations which we need to understand how these are getting determined automatically. So now the item category, let us look at more details on this item category. So item category is the one which controls the item. So here you see that the item category is TAN. So this TAN will now control your item, how the item has to behave. So let us see what are all the controls which an item category can do. So here you can see that the item category, what and all it controls. So it will control the pricing, whether the billing, whether this item is relevant for billing, and in case if it is incomplete, what action the system has to take, what partners has to be determined, what is the delivery relevance, whether for this item a schedule lines would be permitted or not. So these are some of the functions of the item category that are listed here. Similarly, like how we have the order type configuration, we have an item category configuration as well. So let us look at the item categories configuration. For that, what you need to do, you need to go to tools, customizing, IMG, SPRO, SAP reference IMG. Here you can go to sales and distribution, sales documents. Now you go to sales document item, define item categories. Now here you have around 565 item categories that are present inside the system. You can also create your own item category, like how you create your own sales document type. You can also create your own item categories. That is not a problem. But you try to use the item categories which are already available inside the system. So now, if you see in our sales document, the item category that got determined automatically is TIN. So now let us look at how TIN is configured. You go to position, select this TIN. Now you can select this, go to details screen. Now these are some of the fields that will decide how the item will behave. Here you see there are many fields. Now let us look at some of the important fields that are relevant. So now here you have billing relevance. What is the relevance of billing? Whether this item category will be relevant for billing or not. If it is A, it means that it is delivery related billing document. So we have two kind of billing document. One is related to order and another is related to delivery. So in this case, it will be delivery related billing document. So whether this is relevant for pricing, it is marked as X, which means that pricing standard. Yes, it is relevant for pricing. So if it is blank means then the system will not carry out pricing. This is applicable when you want to give some material as free of cost, or whenever you are giving some discounts, or whenever you are giving free samples. In all those cases, those particular item categories will not be relevant for pricing, but in our case this item category is relevant for pricing. Then we have something called the completion rule. So when you wanted to have this item as completed, like now when you created an inquiry, you referenced that inquiry and created quotation. So now you see that when you created an inquiry for some 100 quantity, you referred that inquiry and you created a quotation only for 50 quantity. Is the inquiry still open or it is completely referenced? It is still open, right? Because the inquiry was created for 100, whereas you managed to create quotation only for 50. And against that quotation of 50, you created a sales document for only 25 quantity. Is the quotation completely referenced now or not? No, right?
Not.
So how do we determine the completion rule? So when it is fully referenced, the document will be deemed as completely referenced, or only once if you refer that document. So now you referred that quotation which had 50 quantity and you created a sales document for 25. Still there is a scope for you to create one more document for another 25. So only how do you deem that quotation as completed? Only one reference you make out of that quotation, will it be deemed as completed, or it will be deemed as completed only until you make all the complete reference for all the quantity. So that will be decided based on the completion rule. So in the completion rule, you can see not relevant for completion, item is completed with the first reference. So once you refer the quotation and create an order, if the completion rule for the item category is maintained as A, then immediately that quotation will be deemed as completed. So even in inquiry, even in quotation also has item categories. So don't forget that. So that in the case of a item category for quotation, you can see the setting here. So whether it is active for credit, whether schedule lines are allowed for this item category, whether it is a returns related item category, all these are kind of settings are present here. Whether we have some concept of batches for material, so whether the batches has to be determined automatically. So those kind of settings you again see in completion procedure at the item level, partner determination procedure, text determination procedure. These three we will deal separately. What is the screen sequence group for the item? Then we have something called the bill of material configuration. So bill of material, I will tell you what it is. Then we have value contract. So contract related settings are present here. Then we have service management. For service orders, we will have the relevant setting here. And we have something called the resource related billing settings here. So these are different settings that are present in the item category. I have not explained exhaustively because it is more time consuming. So I am only focusing on a few of the relevant fields that we will be more focusing on. So as far as the item category goes, what you need to understand is this completion rule is important, billing relevance, pricing, then whether schedule line allowed, item relevant for delivery, whether it is active for credit management, then this automatic batch determination, all these incompletion procedure, partner determination procedure, text determination procedure, then what are the controls related to bill of material and controls related to contracts. So this we will discuss when we cover the concepts of bill of material and contracts. So at this point of time, you only need to understand what are the different controls that an item category is capable of. So any specific doubts or queries from anyone before we go to item category determination?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay. Fine.
No,
So
sir.
now we have defined the item category. So it is not enough that we only define the item category, but in our sales document we saw that the item category got determined automatically also. So how the determination of item category is happening automatically is what we are going to see next. So item category determination. So item category determination is an important element in controlling sales and distribution process. So how do we ensure that the item category is getting determined? So now we can go to these configuration settings here. Go to SPRO, go to SAP reference IMG. Go to sales and distribution. Go to sales documents. Go to sales document item. Here we have seen define item categories. You can go to assign item categories. Okay. Here you can see the item category assignment. Now I will just tell you how the item category got determined automatically in our sales document type. So you can check our configuration. So can anyone of you tell what was the sales document type which we used?
Over.
So where do we see the item category group? We can go to the material master. So in our material master, okay, we go here. This is the material what we used. So we can go directly to the material master. In the material master, we can go to basic data 1. Okay, in sales org 2 view. Okay, in sales org org 2 view, you see something called the item category group. So this is the item category group for this material M05. So let us copy this. Now I am putting the item category group here. So you can leave the item usage and item category of the higher level item for now. Just press enter. Now here you see against sales document type OR, against item category group norm NORM, this default item category is maintained as TIM. So this is the configuration which the system has picked up and determined TIN in the sales order automatically. So now there could be situations where you might require the use of item usage and higher level item category. So that we will discuss when we encounter that situation. So what do you mean by a higher level item category? So for example, if your item is a sub item, in our case it is not. So in our case, our item is the main item. So there could be instances where this item what you have in the sales order. Okay, here you have this item in the sales order. This item will trigger sub items from this. So that could be an example of bill of material scenario or a free good scenario, where once you enter this main item, then that will branch out into sub items. So in those cases, what would be the item category of the sub item will be decided based on the item category of the higher level item. So in our case, this is not applicable because ours itself is a higher level item category. So this is ignored here. So in case if your item is a sub item and it has an higher level item with item category TAC, that means our default item category will be this. So you don't need to worry about this much now. I will tell you when we encounter the bill of material and the free goods scenario. So ours at this point of time, you understand that ours is the main line, and for main line you don't have an higher level item. So that is the reason the default item category got determined as TIN. Now you see that there are some columns which are maintained here as manual item categories. So what it means is you can maintain some item categories here as manual item category. Why? Because there could be situations where you might be required to manually overwrite whatever got determined automatically. So now in our case, the item category TIN got determined automatically. So for some business reason, you want to override this with another item category. So now we want to override this with TAP, for example. You can go and change it to TAP. And the system will allow you to change. So now you change the item category, pricing will be redetermined because now TAP can be determined automatically. Sorry, TAP can our item can be changed manually to TAP. So only when you maintain here entries in manual item category, only these entries will be updated manually. You cannot go and update another item category which is not maintained here as a manual item category. So that is what it means. Now, for example, now I am trying to create an order. Now the item category got determined as TIN. Now in the manual item category for this determination configuration, there are only TAP, TAQ, TANN. So only when these are present here, then only these only we can change manually in our order. Now I cannot go and change from TIN to TAE because TAE is not maintained here as a manual item category. Let us attempt to change from TIN to TAE. System will throw an error saying that item category TAE is not defined for this item. So if you want to manually change the item category, then you should be the system will allow you to change only with those entries that are present here as a manual item category. Did you get this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can we change this manual item category?
You can change anything, you can change. This is a configuration. So here, for example, manual item category, I will change it here to TAE. Sorry. So it will ask me to save changes. It will ask me for a transport. Now I have saved it. Now if you go and now change to TAE, the system will allow you to change.
Okay.
Really, we need to ensure that we don't change anything like that. Okay. So everyone, are you clear about this item category determination configuration?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
fine. So the theoretically here, whatever I have explained to you in the system, you can find those content here. So you can go through them at your leisure time. So if you have anything which you do not follow, then you can do it in tomorrow's class. And one more important thing, guys, see, is at the back of each and every unit, there are some learning assessment. So there are some questions like this. So you can try to attempt those questions because these questions would be on similar lines to those that would be asked in your certification examinations. So if you are planning to attend to some SD certification, then the questions what you will be asked in those certification will be similar to the ones which you see here in the back of these exercises or in this unit. So this will give you a feel of how the questions would be when you attempt a certification. So just practice these questions at the back of the exercise, at the back of each and every unit. And if you feel any challenges in understanding them or what the answers could be, they have provided the answers as well. But still, if you have any kind of doubts, please bring it to the class and we can discuss it with everyone. Okay.
Okay.
Now we saw what is the sales document type configuration. We saw what are the functions of the sales document type. We have seen what are the controls of a sales document type, how it is controlled, and what are the different sales document types that are used in different business scenarios we have seen. Then we saw what is an item category, what are the different controls that an item category has, and how to configure the item category we have seen, and how the item category determination happens we have seen. So item category determination happens based on sales document type, item category group from the material master, item usage, and higher level item category. So based on these four, the item category will be determined. So if you want to manually change the automatically determined item category, then you need to maintain those item categories which you want to have. You need to maintain them in the manual item category. If it is maintained in the manual item category, then we can replace our automatically determined item category with those item categories. So this is all about the item category concept. Now let us move ahead. Today's schedule line categories. Okay. So go to unit number 13. So I'm randomly going units, jumping from here and there, so don't worry, all the units will cover. Okay, so interpreting the automatic determination of schedule line category. So now first let us try to understand what a schedule line category is. So now here, if you see in our sales document type, again I'm going to the same example of the sales document type. You double click on this, go to schedule lines. So here you saw that the schedule line, okay, now we can select this, click on the schedule line. Here you can see that the schedule line category is CP. Okay, so where is the schedule line category defined, and what is the control that a schedule line category can provide? So the schedule lines in the sales document essentially has information about the quantities and the delivery dates. So in this schedule line, if you see, you can see the delivery date of 27th September, and on this 27th September, the confirmed quantity is 10 pieces. So the 10 pieces will be delivered on 27th is what we need to understand. So this schedule line is controlled by the schedule line category. Now the schedule line category, where do we see the definition of the schedule line category? You can go to tools, customizing, IMG, SPRO, SAP reference IMG. Go to sales and distribution, sales documents, schedule line. So here you can go and define schedule line categories. Now what is the schedule line which we got? CP. Select this, go to details. Here, although it is not as exhaustive as the document type definition or the item category, still this is very much important to control the schedule lines. So what are the important things that you see here? What is the incompletion procedure assigned to the schedule line category? These are the information that would be very much relevant. Order type, item category, these are relevant only for third party processing. whenever you are creating a sales order, let us assume you create a sales order from your customer, and if the material is not produced by you, but you wanted to outsource that, or you want to procure that material from a third party vendor, in those cases you might be required to raise a purchase requisition to that third party vendor. In those cases, what purchase requisition document type will be used will be decided based on the setting here. So the CP is not used for third party process, so that is the reason you see these fields are black. So the important fields that you need to understand here is the incompletion procedure, and then we have the important field related to movement type. Yesterday we saw the movement type 601 in the material document, which got generated immediately when we did the goods issue. So that 601, how it got determined is based on the schedule line category. So we have schedule line category which is assigned with the movement type 601 for goods issue. And then if this item is relevant for delivery, and then we have these three important fields, how the requirements will be passed on to the material requirement planning. So whenever you have a sales order, the material, you enter a material in that, and the system will perform an availability check. So availability check is an important concept, so we will discuss that when we go to availability check. But you just need to understand that the system will automatically perform availability check whenever you enter a sales order, and that availability check, the result of that availability check is to decide how we pass on the requirements to the manufacturing. So now you created an order for some 100 quantity, but in the plant you don't have the stock to fulfill this order. So now you need to create the requirement to the plant to manufacture this 100 quantity. So that requirement, whether this sales orders quantity will be passed to the manufacturing as a requirement or not, will be decided based on the check that you make here. And then you have something called availability. Whether the availability check will be performed or not is decided based on this setting. Then you have something called the product allocation. So product allocation is a little higher concept. We may not be discussing that as part of our course, but still for understanding sake, product allocation is something that happens whenever there is some extreme demand for certain products. So in those cases, to manage the demand and supply, we specify certain quota for some customers. So they will be limited to buy only that quantity of material for that particular time period. So for example, you have only 1000 quantity of the material and you have some 10 customers. So you wanted to satisfy all the 10 customers because you don't want to lose any customer. So in that case, what you do, you allocate 100 quantity to all the 10 customers. So it becomes 1000. So each customer will receive only 100 quantity if they place the order within this month, for example. So that is the concept of product allocation. So you maintain a quota for each customer and they will be able to buy only that quantity. They will not be, system will not allow them to buy quantity more than that 100. In this way you are satisfying all the 10 customers. You don't leave any customer unsatisfied. So that is the concept of product allocation, and it specifies whether this schedule line category is relevant for that product allocation or not. So these are some of the important settings that would be present inside the schedule line category. So any doubts on this before we move to the schedule line category determination?
You can
No,
proceed.
Okay, Vivek,
Yes, sir.
you have any doubts?
No, sir. We can proceed further.
Okay. So now we saw how we define an schedule line category. Now let us go ahead and understand how to assign the schedule line category. Now in the sales order we got the schedule line category determined as CP, correct? So this is automatically determined. I did not maintain here. Okay. How the CP got determined automatically is based on item category and MRP type. So this is some new terminologies. So you should be able to follow it up as and when we progress. So schedule line category. Based on item category and MRP type. Our order already the item category which got determined was TIN. So item category got determined as TIN. MRP type where we will go and see, it will be present inside the material master. So in this material master here we can see where the MRP type is. So you can go to MRP1 view. In MRP1 you see the MRP type as PD. PD means planning. Planning is required. So in our configuration, you can go to the schedule and category determination. The item category is TIN and MRP type is PD. So for this combination, the schedule and category determination configuration is maintained as CP. So that is the reason CP got determined automatically in our sales order. So schedule and category is determined basically based on item category and MRP type. Item category from the sales order and MRP type from the material master. So any questions or doubts on how this determination has happened?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, others? Gaurav
No, sir.
or
No, sir.
Vikrant?
No, sir.
Vikrant is very silent. So item category determination I will just mention here. Item category determination is based on sales document type, item item category. Okay, so let us move ahead. So what and all are the concepts which we discussed today? Just a quick recap. We started with the sales document type configuration. What are the different type of sales documents that we use in our day-to-day business scenarios? We have seen that. And we saw what are the functions of a sales document type. Then we saw what are the sales document type configuration settings. So we can create our own sales document type by copying existing sales document and renaming that, and we can create our own sales document type. And then we saw the number ranges for sales document type, how the number ranges get determined automatically. And after that sales document type configuration, we saw what is the item category and how the item category gets determined automatically. What are the different functions of the item category that we have seen, and on what basis the item category gets determined, what is a manual item category, and how we change the item category manually even after it is determined automatically in the sales order. We saw that. And then we saw what is a schedule line category, and then how the schedule lines category gets determined automatically in the sales document based on item category and MRP type. So these are the concepts which we discussed so far. So before we move further, there is something called the nomenclature or the naming convention of these item categories. So how do we understand just by seeing the schedule line category or just by seeing the item category, how we will understand what that item category is based on the nomenclature. Just we have certain naming conventions. Like for example, we go to the schedule line. Sorry, um, item category, for example. Okay. See now in the standard order, we saw the item category as TIN. Okay. So now see, these are the different item categories that are used in the different phases of the business. Like pre-sales, we have inquiries and quotations. Then we have sales phase. In that we have different kinds of sales documents. So then we have contracts or outline agreements that also will have item categories. And in returns or free of charge or debit memo or credit memo request document types also we will have item categories. So how the item categories naming happens is based on, for example, in the case of let us go to a quotation. Okay, so let us go to a inquiry first. So here let us go to define item categories. Now here inquiry item AFN. AF actually stands for inquiry in the German naming convention. So generally AF means it is an inquiry, and N represents the item category group, which is NORM, NORM. So that put together symbolizes that it is an inquiry item. On the other hand, you go to a quotation. Quotations are represented as AG. AG is the German symbolization of QT. So here you can see AGN. And our standard OR is symbolized in German as TA. So OR means it is a TA. So TA and N represents a normal item category, which is TAN. So just by looking at this, we can say that this is a standard item. This item category belongs to inquiry. This item category belongs to quotation. Similarly, you can see that we have something called the text item. So TA is for a standard order. TX stands for text. So TA TX will be a text item. So these kind of quotations, annotations which you can derive from this item categories naming convention. Similarly, we can go to schedule line category also. There also the same concept will be applied. Like we saw CP. CP means C represents sales order, P represents planning. So here you can see that any schedule line category which starts with A or B will be mostly in the pre-sales phase. Anything which starts with C will be belonging to the sales phase. Any schedule line category which starts with D represents the returns or the complaint phase. So along with that, see the next line which you see, next word or the next letter of P means it is planning. 0 means it will have another symbolization likewise. So if there is no planning means ND is the MRP type. So in those cases, you will have a schedule line with CN. See, if you go here, if CN means no MRP. So that is what it means. So CS will belong to third party schedule line category. If you go to CS and check this, here you will have the order type, item category, account assignment category, which are relevant for the purchase requisitions which are getting created for a third party item. So these kind of symbolizations will just help us to understand what that schedule line category is for, what that schedule line category is doing. So you will gain more knowledge as and when you start using them. You can just this is just a foundation. So based on this, you can build your own schedule lines, item categories, how you name them, everything you can do it on your own. These are just standard item categories and schedule line categories, which will tell us what it represents. Any doubts from anyone before we move further?
No.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Fine. So before this next concept, what we will look into is the bill of material concept. So let us look into that. So here you can detail the explanations are given. What does this A mean? What is this B? What is C? What is D? Okay, so you can look into this theoretical concepts. I am just focusing my attention on the system. So you can read this through, and if you have any doubts, you can come up. So what does the schedule line do? We are seeing here. What are the functions of schedule line? What controls happen? That's what is mentioned here. So before that, we have the bill of material concept. Okay. Okay. Item categories we have seen. Guys, please go through the theoretical concept. So if you face any challenges or doubts on any of that thing which is written here, please do let me know. Okay. Okay. Now let us start with what is a bills of material concept in sales document. So guys, this is a very important concept. So people who are working in automobile industries or any pharma industries or any kind of a manufacturing industries where they are implementing SAP, they are required to know what is a bill of material. So in that way, this is an important concept. So let us try to understand what is a bill of material. In short, they call it as a BOM or BOM. So what is a bill of material? So let us understand a practical scenario where you are trying to purchase a computer or a desktop. Let us assume that you are purchasing a desktop. So can any one of you tell, like you go to a shop and ask them, boss, I want to order a desktop. What are the products or materials you will get when you order a desktop? Can someone of you tell?
Material means in the billing documents or what?
No. Don't go into SAP now. You just come out of SAP for the time being. Now let us assume that Vivek, you are going to a shop which sells computers. Okay.
Yes.
There you go and you order a desktop. Okay.
Yes.
Desktop computer, I mean. So
Yes, sir.
what and all you will get?
I will get the mouse,
Bill.
keyboard. that kind of thing.
Yes, yes. Tell me.
Monitor,
Monitor.
Okay.
sound,
Sorry.
Keyboard, CPU.
sound.
Okay. So you only ordered desktop. You only ordered a computer. Okay. Now
Yes.
let us assume that Vivek is going to buy a desktop today. Okay. So you go to a shop and you order a desktop. The shop who sells the computer, he gives you a monitor, keyboard, mouse, CPU, then some speaker, then what else?
UPS.
Yes, then
Then
okay.
yes.
Let us assume that you ordered one desktop. Okay, quantity you ordered as material is desktop. Material desktop quantity 1 you ordered. In the bill what you receive, you will have what? One monitor, one keyboard, one mouse, one CPU, and UPS. Okay, you ordered one desktop, but you got these many products. So now, tomorrow, let us assume that your mouse is stopped working or something has happened to your mouse, and you go to the same shop and you ask him to give you a mouse. Will the shopkeeper give you the mouse alone, or he will ask you to again buy the desktop?
No, sir.
Use mouse
No.
alone.
The only mouse.
He will give you
No.
mouse, right? That is also possible, right? You can buy any one of them separately also, right? It is not that
Yes.
always you need to buy everything together. You can go and buy your own only one speaker also. You can buy UPS separately. You can buy keyboard separately. Monitor also you can buy separately. So that is also possible, right? So now this is a very practical example of a bill of material scenario. So now the bill of material here is the desktop. Now you create a bill of material using a particular transaction, say CS01 inside SAP system. Now we are going into SAP system. So you use transaction CS01, you create a bill of material. For example, you create a bill of material for desktop. So in the desktop, under this, you will add all these monitor, keyboard, mouse. These are also materials that are already created in the system with some material code. So for example, let us assume that this is M01, this is M02, this is M03, this is M04. So these are all the different materials which make up this desktop. And this desktop, let us assume it is M10. Now, you create a bill of material using CS01, and in that you add all these materials. Now, when you create a sales order, you just put desktop material only in that material. You go and put M10 and you put quantity as 1. And when you press enter, what happens? It will explode into these different components inside the sales document. Okay. Now, did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we will see how do we create a bill of material. Now, for example, now let us go to CS01. Now, for this, you need to put some usage. So this usage will be 5 because we are going to use it in a sales and distribution. So usage is 5. Press enter. Now let us assume that we are creating a bill of material for M05 with components say M01, we'll keep it M02, M03. So we'll have one quantity. So now, okay. So this M05 will comprise of these three components. Now if I give order M01 for one quantity, all this will come with one quantity each, because that is how it is you are configuring, because one desktop will comprise of one monitor, one CPU, one UPS, one keyboard. So if you are selling for one desktop, you are selling two monitors, you need to configure your bill of material with two. That is up to your discretion. Now I am saving this bill of material. Okay. Now let us create an order for M05, which is the bill of BOM which we created. Now let us create an, now I am creating order as one quantity. Okay, this is some other setting. I'm just trying to take some materials for which already bill of material exists, so that it will be easy for us to uh, look into that. Okay. Mm, guys, this is how it will look like. Just give me a minute. I will explain you. Okay. I will be back. Just give me a minute.
Vikrant is very innocent guy.
इनोसंट नाही सायलेंट म्हटले सर.
Innocent म्हटले.
इनोसंट
बस.
म्हटले
काय झालं?
काय सायलेंट तर सायलेंट हो बस.
सौरभ भाऊला फोन आला.
कोणाचा फोन आला असेल नाही तर काय सांगायची गरज नाही.
हा, ते तर काय सांगायची गरज.
हे आधी तुझा
शामराव
गिव्ह रिस्पेक्ट टेक रिस्पेक्ट.
शिकवलं वाटतं त्याला काय कोण.
घे ना, रिस्पेक्ट देऊ का तुला?
समजून घ्यावी की त्याला घ्यायचं द्यायचंच माहिती नाही.
गिव्ह रिस्पेक्ट टेक रिस्पेक्ट म्हणजे अरे ते रेकॉर्डेड व्हिडिओ पाठवला नाही तू, काही नाही.
अरे ते ऑलरेडी चॅट बॉक्स वर राहतो, तो डाउनलोड
चॅट
करायचा.
बॉक्स उघड तू.
सगळे व्हिडिओ तिथं असतात मित्रा, बघत जाय ना.
हो का?
मग मित्र सौरभ बघायचं ते हुशार आहे.
म्हणून आम्हाला
म्हणजे
डाऊट्स येत नाही, तुला डाऊट्स येतात.
तर तुम्हाला टाइमच नाहीये इकडे बघायला. तुम्हाला इतके अकाउंट तुमचं ओपन आहे दुसरीकडं.
म्हणजे तू रेकॉर्ड केलेला व्हिडिओ लगेच अपलोड होतं का याच्यावर?
मी म्हणजे कोणी पण रेकॉर्ड
हा
केलं
हा,
ना.
म्हणजे कोणी पण केलं ते.
हा
तू पण करू शकतो. आता मी ती रेकॉर्डिंग स्टॉप पण करू शकतो वेगची इथून, तू पण स्टॉप करू शकतो.
अच्छा अच्छा. अरे म्हणजे आपण जे बोलतो ते सर्व होईल का त्यावर?
हो मग.
बरं आहे, असं ते कुठं मराठी कळतंय कोणाला.
बाकीच्यांना काय
बाकीचे नाही रे, म्हणजे ते जे मेन माणूस होतो.
पॉजचा ऑप्शन पाहिजे होतं रे असा.
हा, पॉजचा ऑप्शन पाहिजे.
सौरभ कर ना डेव्हलप तू नवीन काय काय.
सौरभला हेच जमाना.
नको आवाज सौरभ काय शेट लोक माहिती.
Okay, guys, I'm back. So, are you able to still see my screen?
Yes sir.
Yes sir.
Now, if you see, we created a bill of material for this material T-ATS01. Okay. Now, I did not enter these materials M01, 2, 3 manually in the sales order. I just entered only ATS01 and this got exploded into the components. So now here, what we need to understand is what is this, how this split is happening inside the sales order. See, now let us revisit the bill of material which we created. We used this transaction CS01. Now we can go to CS02 and check that how it looks like. Now we created here. Here you can see this is the material that we created it as a bill of material, and inside that material we are adding these as components. Now your desktop, what I told you, will be created as a bill of material, and inside that we will add material as CPU, we will add here, we will add a printer, we will add a UPS, we will add mouse, we will have keyboard, everything will be quantity we will put. If the desktop is ordered as one quantity, all will be one only, speaker will be two, like that. So there will be separate validity from and to, and then when we save this bill of material, and when we enter a sales order for this material, it gets exploded into the components. Now although it has exploded into these components, still we can supply these materials, or we can sell these materials also separately in the sales order. Now although here it is split into 10, 20, 30, etc. Now still if we want to sell M01 alone, the system will allow. See, now if I want to put M01, I want to order from 2 pieces. Still the system is allowing us with a different item category. Now here you see the item category here. When I entered it separately, it is determined as TIN. Whereas when it got split up in the bill of material, it got determined as TIE. So that is the catch here. So now why we have these different item categories? Now see this material ATS01. Let us look at how this material master is set up. So now we will go and check this material master for ATS01. Here you can see the item category group that is determined, that is maintained here, is ERLA. So now we will go to the item category determination and check how the ERLA is configured, how the item category is getting determined. So now you can go here. Sales and distribution, sales documents, sales document item, define, assign item categories. Now let us put our inputs here. Sales document type, which we used as OR, item category group is ERLA for the bill of material or the main item. Press enter. Now here you can see for OR, if the item category group is ERLA, then the default item category that gets determined as TAQ. That is what has happened here, right? Do you agree with me? TAQ
Yes.
has got determined here.
Yes, sir.
Why? Because sales document type is OR and this item category group of this material is ERLA. So the default item category TAQ got determined. Now why it got determined TAE for these sub items? We call it as sub item. Let us call it as sub item. Why it got determined as TAE? Because now this is the higher level item for these three items, M01, M02, M03, which are components of this bill of material. The higher level item category is TAQ. So going back to the same configuration, OR, ERLA is the item category group. Now if the higher level item category is TAQ, then the default item category would be TAE. So that is what it got determined here. So in these materials, okay, so for example, this M01, M02, M03 will have item category group norm also. For example, this will be having norm, let us assume. Still, if it is norm, then so now these three materials, M01, M02, M03 will have item category group as norm. This is having normal. So for this combination of OR norm, if the higher level item is TAQ, then the default item category is TAE. So that is what is got determined here. Now when I am trying to sell M01 separately, what happens? I have put one more line I have added for M01, right? So there, why the item category got determined as TIN? Because this is not influenced by the higher level item category. This is no more, this M01 what I am putting manually is not a component, it is the individual item. So I am trying to sell this separately also. When I am trying to sell this separately, it will not have an higher level item category. So when it doesn't have a higher level item category, it will look at this configuration or norm and no usage, no higher level. So TIN will get determined automatically. So that is the reason why TIN got determined automatically. Did you follow this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now there is another concept on how the pricing has to happen. Now whether you want the pricing to happen at the main line item or you expect the pricing to happen at the sub item level, that is decided based on the item categories. So now the main line item category is TAQ. Now let us check TAQ, how the configuration of the TAQ is made. So now go here, check for TAQ. So TAQ details. So this is relevant for pricing. So TAQ is marked as, pricing is marked as X, which means that this is pricing standard, which is relevant for pricing. So the pricing would happen at the main line. Now let us check how TAE is configured. So TAE, here you see there is no pricing, it is just a statistical. So there is no pricing, is blank, no pricing. So this M01, M02, M03 which got determined with TAE, pricing will not happen. So let us go and check the conditions. Now we can select this. If we go here and see, for line item 10, the price is got determined here. Okay. When I go to line item 220, this is a sub item, no price determined, because for this item category it is not relevant for pricing. So 3, the line item 3 also sub item, no price, 4 no price. But when it go to TAN, when the price is there, because TAN is relevant for pricing. So this is the difference. So now we have another concept where you want to have the pricing determined at the sub item level. So for that we will have a different item category getting determined at the main line. So at the main line, P will get determined and TIN will get determined in the sub item. In those cases, the main line will be having 0 and the sub items will be considered for pricing. That also depends based on the item category group. So if you have another item category group, instead of ERLA for the main, if you have LUMF, then in those cases, then the prices would get determined at the sub item level. So this item category, let us create one more bill of material with this material. Okay, now see how this would happen. I am creating one more bill of material. Everything is okay. For this itself, we will try to change the item category group and check. So instead of ERLA, I will change it to LUM. Okay. Now I changed it to LUM. Now I will check how the item categories are now getting determined. I will create one more order for this material. For that material. See now what happens. Okay, it's not taking effect. We need to create a new bomb. Okay, see now after I change item category group, you can see the main item got determined with item category TAP and the sub items got determined with TAN. Why this is happening? Because now for this T and hyphen ATS01, the item category group I changed it to LUMF. Now let us see how the item category determination works for OR and LUMF. Okay. In item categories, so our order is OR, item category group is LUMF. Here if you go and see for OR LUMF, item category default is TAP. So that is what is got determined here. And for these materials M01, M02 which falls under this bomb. Now if this OR item category group is norm for these materials, and if the higher item category is TAP here, this entry, then the default item is TAN. Now what is the difference between TAP and TAN? Now what happens is, now if you go and see here the prices, TAP will not have any price, so the main line item is not having any price, whereas the sub items will be having price. Why? Because the main line items item category TAP is not relevant for pricing. So we can check that also. So if we go to TAP, you can see it is not relevant for pricing, whereas TAN is relevant for pricing. So this is how the pricing happens at either at the main line or at the subline item. So you have two options of creating bill of material, one with item category group ERLA and another with item category group LUMF. If your material you have assigned item category group ERLA, then you create a bill of material for that material, then the pricing would happen at the main line item and the sublines will be not considered for pricing, because the item categories that get determined here are TAQ for the main and TAE for the sublines. Whereas when you use a bill of material with the material having an item category group LUMF, the main lines will not have prices, sublines will be considered for pricing. Why? Because the main line will have item category determined as TAP and the sublines will have TAN. TAP is not relevant for pricing. So these options you have, and you have an option of selling the components also separately. So according to that, the item category would get determined. When it is sold separately, the prices will get determined, as you have seen in the example which we created. So any doubts on this important concept of bill of material?
No, sir.
Okay, so I suggest you to create some examples for this bill of material today, because you may tend to forget this concept. So before you forget, please try to create some examples so that you will remember this very easily. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So I have created some orders. So let me save these orders so that we can use it for future reference. Okay. So the theoretical part also covers the same thing. What is a bill of material? So the concept of computer or the desktop, which I shown you, is present here. So you can go through this in detail. Theoretically, how they are controlled, what is the bill of material in sales documents, ERLA, what would be the main items, item category, sub items. That main item will be priced, sub item not priced. This and all I have shown you directly in the system itself. So how item category group influences the BOM creation. So this is all about the bill of material. Please go through this theoretical concept and also attempt to the exercises or the questions that are marked behind these exercises. So today we have covered unit 13 and one more unit. What was that? Unit 4.
7.
7, sorry. Yes. Unit 7 and 13 we have covered. So you can go to the practical assessment for units 7 and 13. So let us look at how they look like. So unit 7, you can create sales orders using different sales document types. You can now create your own sales document types, right? You are confident of creating your own sales document types, right? Any one of you who are still not confident of creating your own documents?
No.
No, in the sense you're not able to create or you're able to
No,
create?
no, sir. I'm able to create
That means you should say yes, no.
Okay, sir. Yes, I'm able to create.
Vivek. So how about others? You're also able to create your own documents. Have you
Yes.
attempted to create?
Yes, sir.
Any one of you are still not went into the SAP system yet? Any one of you like that?
No, sir.
Everyone at least logged in once in your server.
Yes, sir.
There could be someone who is still not logged. Huh? I know someone will be there. Okay, you guys are really very enthusiastic. I like this. So try to create your own sales documents and see if you come up with some documents. So tomorrow what I request is at least you can tell me what document numbers you created so that I will be little happy to see that. So you can show me some documents. Each one of you can share your screen and show me tomorrow morning before we start our session the document sales the orders what you created. So in case if you are not able to save your sales order for some issue, please ping me and we can fix it then and there. So you can ping me in the group or separately also you can ping me in WhatsApp and any issues you are facing during order creation. Then we will try to resolve it. So please try to create a delivery for the order which you created and display the document flow as well. And what you can do, if you are able to do it successfully, you can take a screenshot and send it to me in WhatsApp also. Otherwise, you can show it to me in tomorrow's session. For the exercises in Unit 7, you can create your own sales documents. Check what is the item category that got determined. Can use different item categories, look into them, how it is working, what is the effect of TAN, what is the effect of TANN. So you can explore on your own what is TANN. So TANN is a free of charge item category. So if TANN gets determined, then the item will be deemed as free. So why TANN is a free item? You can go and check the configuration. It will not have pricing enabled. So all these things you can go and do it on your own and you can share the results. If you are facing some issues also, don't worry, we can fix it. The thing is that you should be in a confident position to create your own documents, at least at this point of time. So please try to do that. Try to look at the exercises under unit 7 and 13 as well. So where is 13? So 13 we have different sales document type, analyze item categories, interpret the automatic determination of item category, use of bill of material, analyze schedule line category, interpret the automatic determination of schedule line category. So you can do these exercises as well. So any specific queries you wanted to address as part of our quiz session before we move ahead with other concepts?
Not yet, sir. Maybe
Hmm.
they are come when
They
we
will
are
come.
go through
Yeah,
exercise.
it should
They
come.
will-
It should come. Yeah, yeah. Without doubts, you cannot learn.
Yes, sir.
Vivek will be the first person to come up with doubts. So I expect everyone also to come up with some doubts. Otherwise, you will not learn. Okay. Please, how much time you are spending every day in your the system? At least 1 hour, 2 hours.
Yes.
So anybody can tell how many hours you are spending in the system?
2.
2 hours. Okay, good.
Sir, 2+.
Okay. If you don't have any other work, you can spend the entire 8 hours, 10 hours also. So that's the way you will learn more concepts. So did you happen to go through or see the book which I referred yesterday, Implementing Sales and Distribution?
No.
मग तू त्यांच्याकडून
I forgot the author name.
Okay, I will put you in the chat. Implementing SAP-ERP.
William.
Lynn C. Just to go through this, if you are able to find this book in the PDF in the online, just try to go through that. He has given a very good explanation of the basic concepts. So that will give more idea. Although the material what you have is also more than enough, but still you want to know a little more deeper on these concepts, you can look. It's a very simple book, not a very complicated concepts. So you can go through them. So then you can come up if you have any doubts. You can let me know. So how do you find these classes? Is it interesting or is it boring or you don't understand anything? Even if you don't understand anything, also just tell me, boss. Whatever you teach is I'm not understanding. You can raise your feedback. So anybody?
Sir, it becomes interesting day by day when we go through the exercises.
Okay. So anybody who has any specific concerns about the way the classes are handled? Do you want it to be more interactive or more theoretical or more practical? I can also just take you through this theory, but I'm just showing it everything in the system. So is it okay, or you want to take more of theory, or how you feel the session should be more productive for you? You have any comments or suggestions on that?
No, sir, it's
It's
good
fine.
to see that you are going through that system.
Okay. How about the others? Omkar, Vikrant, Saurabh.
Everything is good, sir.
Okay. Kuldeep.
It is good, sir.
Yes, everything is good.
Okay. So you are able to follow everything clearly, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have any doubts, please do let me know then and there. We can address that. Then we can start our classes like what we did today. So I want everyone to create some documents and show them to me tomorrow in the class. before we start tomorrow's session, each one of you can share your screen and show me the documents, whatever you are creating. It is not that you only need to create a standard sales order. You can create rush order, you can create cash sale, whatever you want, you can create, and just show me the documents on the screen tomorrow. Is it okay with
Yes.
everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that is
Yes.
what I want everyone to create some documents. And also you can create your own sales document type also. You can configure, you can copy OR and you can create your own document types, and that also you can do, but it will ask for a transport request. You all know how to create a transport request, so just go there and save the transport. Don't create too many transport requests, just create only one, and whatever changes you do, you copy it in that parent tr only. Don't create many transport requests, that will not look good. So try to keep your changes to the minimum to the system. Don't make changes to the standard settings. So if you have OR or LF delivery or F2, don't go into that and make any changes. If you want to make any changes, copy that and make your change and give a different name to that. Okay. Any name you give, try to give it starting with Z. Z is the customizing thing. So anything that you see as Z, which means that it is a custom one and not a standard one. So try to do that, and it will help you to learn better. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I think we have covered many concepts today. So let us stop here for today. And maybe there is another 30 minutes. You can work on the practical concepts, or you want me to continue? Anything is fine.
No, sir. It's fine for the today.
Okay. So tomorrow we will start with further concepts. So maybe tomorrow we will start with unit 5, collective processing, and unit 9, compliance processing. Over those 2 units. So before that, please create sales documents, deliveries, whatever you feel like, and I am sure that you will have some doubts tomorrow, and we can discuss. The bill of material, duplicate that as well. Create bill of material CS01, and with bill of material as well. Okay.
Sir, your voice is breaking from bill of material
Breaking,
point.
sir.
Yeah. How is it now?
Is it? Oh, okay, sir.
Fine.
You are audible
So
to us.
yeah. So now you can continue with the practical session for some more time. And if you have anything, you can put it on the chat, or you can ping me on WhatsApp as well, and then maybe we will look at it, and tomorrow we will start our session at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much for joining today. So I wish you all a day ahead. Bye.
Yes, sir. Yes. Have a good day to you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.